Remaining inward, we'll practice this affirmation for self-healing from Swamiji. This week is on generosity. Most people think of generosity as merely the giving of material benefits to others. More important, however, and much more satisfying is a generous spirit, a willingness to let the other person shine, even if it means being eclipsed oneself, a happiness in his good fortune, even if it means personal loss for oneself, a concern for his safety, even if in an accident one's own property has been destroyed. Generosity means, above all, recognizing that everything we have and are belongs to God alone and is His to dispose of where He will. We'll now practice the affirmation, first speaking it very loudly, waking your subconscious mind, calling all your battlefield warriors in your being. I am happy in the good fortune of all,
I am happy in the good fortune of all,
even more than in my own.
even more than in my own.
For in my happiness for them
For in my happiness for them
lies inner freedom.
lies inner freedom.
Now a bit softer in a speaking voice. Get your conscious mind ready. I am happy in the good fortune of all,
I am happy in the good fortune of all,
even more than in my own.
even more than in my own.
For in my happiness for them
For in my happiness for them
lies inner freedom.
lies inner freedom.
Now softly in a whisper, taking this affirmation more deeply within your being, make it a part of yourself. I am happy in the good fortune of all,
Happy in the good fortune of all,
even more than in my own.
even more than in my own.
For in my happiness for them
My happiness for them
lies inner freedom.
lies inner freedom.
Now silently, in your superconscious, making this your sole truth, silently affirm, I am happy in the good fortune of all, for in my happiness for them lies inner freedom. Now listening to this prayer, feeling the spirit of generosity in these words from Swamiji. All that I have and am is thine. Divine Mother, dispose of it as thou wilt. Om. Good morning. We'll now have a reading from Rays of the One Light. This is the weekly commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita and Bible. This week is, does Satan exist? This is a very interesting topic, a very common question. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. The Bible tells us in chapter 4 of the Gospel of St. Matthew. Then, after baptism, was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. To most modern minds, this passage seems quaintly obsolete. Psychologists would say, have said, in fact, that the temptation of Jesus, if it occurred at all, was purely psychological. They call it a projection of desires lurking in his own subconscious mind. The subconscious plays a strong part, certainly, even if not a unique one, in any testing the spiritual seeker may undergo. The Bhagavad Gita, in dealing with this undeniable reality, quotes Arjuna in the 3rd chapter, and then Sri Krishna's reply. Yet tell me, teacher, said Arjuna, by what force doth man go to his ill, unwilling, as if one pushed him in that path? Krishna replied, desire it is, passion it is, born of the darknesses, which pusheth him, mighty of appetite. Sinful and strong is this, man's enemy. Yet even Krishna describes passion as born of the darkness. The fact is, as Paramhansa Yogananda wrote in Autobiography of a Yogi, all thoughts vibrate eternally in the cosmos. Thoughts are universally and not individually rooted. A truth cannot be created, but only perceived. Psychology, yes, but psychology attuned to currents of consciousness that pervade the entire universe, attracted by each of us according to our own personal inclinations. Yogananda, quoted in The Path, said, I used to think Satan was only a human invention, but now I know and add my testimony to that of others who lived before me, that Satan is a reality. He is a universal conscious force whose sole aim is to keep all beings bound to the wheel of delusion. We should take pains then to attract uplifting currents of universal consciousness, and to avoid attracting the negative, which, disease that it is, can infect our thoughts even while it leads us to believe that our thoughts are purely our own. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om.
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 And continue that with a reading from Whispers of Eternity. And this is a demand for realizing the expansion of consciousness in the cosmic sound. Manifest thyself to me, O Father, as the light of reason, as the blaze of wisdom, as the breeze of amity and of self-expanding harmony. Manifest thyself through the song of atoms and electrons, whose music vibration encompasses the universe. Teach me to hear thy cosmic voice, which first commanded all vibration to begin, inspiring every pinpoint of creation to sing its own special melody. Oh, let me hear within me thy cosmic voice, so long hidden behind the hubbub of our outer creation. Let my magic wand of meditation touch all sounds and melt them into the one cosmic sound of Om. Lo, how it courses o'er earth, in the sky, and far out from the earth to reach the stars, appear to me as Om, 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 thy cosmic song, which gives me life too and infuses all sounds. Every cell of my body, every nerve, every ripple of my thoughts now sings with thy great cosmic anthem. Om, Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Wow, there's a beautiful, it sounds kind of interesting, doesn't it? It's a beautiful topic, and it kind of is. And Swami simply describes through the teachings of Yogananda that Satan is the outward force of creation to solidity, and Satan's sole goal is to keep you there.
He's sneaky.
He is sneaky.
He's cheeky.
And it's to keep you there. And it's so interesting when you think about that. And that is the root word, selfishness. And if you think about our path is about self-realization. And Swami then talks about that the divine sound is Om. And Om is the sound of returning back to the divine creation. It's getting past all the outward creation of Satan and actually hearing the underlying underpinning of creation, which in every atom is Om. And it's recognizing center everywhere, circumference nowhere, and hearing center everywhere, circumference nowhere, the sound of Om, and being able to expand it back to creation. And it was such a beautiful and simple explanation of a satanic force versus uh, an uplifting one. And if you think about um, that in its truest form, it's quite beautiful. Self-realization is realizing the Om and returning back to it and expanding that. And it was funny. We were watching a movie the other night, and we were looking at uh, this beautiful story of these people that were obviously in love, and they had this wonderful thing. They were both different characters, but they both obviously felt strongly for each other. And one was trying to tell the truth, and the other one was trying to, who was getting caught up in, different things because there were two truths at the time. And then all of a sudden, they were swept up by this worldly thing that was going on, and they went there, and eventually, uh, the the guy who was trying to tell this truth eventually got it out in a situation, and then all of a sudden it exploded. They didn't want to get married anymore. They didn't want to do this. And, we were watching, we're thinking, wow, that's crazy. These guys all over that, like ultimately. And it was interesting enough, it was kind of an invisible thing that he wanted to tell. It was an emotion that he was feeling and like a thing that you couldn't physically hold on to. I know it doesn't make sense, but he, and then this blew up, and all of a sudden the wedding's off, the whole thing's off, and we're like, wow. And I bet you every one of us here could reflect on that at a time in our life, probably many times, even the last week, where we got emotionally attached or involved or dragged into it. And then when you think about it now and you go, why? What was the purpose of all that? Why did my ego get involved in that decision making? Why did it happen? And it's an amazing thing when you think that this satanic force is always at play. And I want to reflect on that beautiful chant that we all watched together. But before I do, I want to think about the opposing force and an example, because I'll come back to, what we witnessed there and some beautiful things that I just learned from watching that chant. But, if you look at selfishness in its real world, like we know that there's possibly um, rough times ahead. We know that there's lots of energy that's going to move and shift in this moving forward. And then I reflected on how many people are out there doomsday prepping. And then I was thinking, how does this doomsday prepping really work? Like what is it and will it be successful? And ultimately, the key concept, not all, and I don't want to pigeonhole everyone, this concept of doomsday prepping is all about who? Me, 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 me. I'm going to save me. I'm going to get me. I'm going to build myself a bunker. I'm going to get myself some food. I'm going to see how long I can last. I'm going to last until whatever happens is dissipated. But I'm going to look after me. And then when you think about it, even if it was the end of the world and they survived, would they end up surviving? I mean, once their food and everything went, what was missing there? What's missing in that equation? And ultimately, it's community. And everything that we look at from what we do and why it was so important in relation to what Yogananda put out for all of us, it was about community. And then I reflected on that amazing chant and the levels within that scene within it. And that with the level of the scene within that chant, put your hand up if you felt the energy behind that. I mean, it was just an amazing piece of energy. So let's take away the people that turned up there and we just had the musicians and they were all in there. Yeah, sure, the energy would have been there. But what was missing was the reciprocating energy. Because if they were all in there just to chant and to play really well and play awesomely, that goes back to a doomsday prepper, doesn't it? It's a selfish act of what they're doing. But what that made was so powerful is they were able to share that energy with each other. And these two energies joined and created more magnetism. It was an
Mm.
amazing experience. If you turned up and everyone just sat there and looked at them, would it have been the same energy? If
Mm.
everyone that walked in there came in with the energy, I'm just here to find God, would the energy be the same?
Would they show up?
Would they have even showed up? And what's interesting, as we looked, they panned around and it was really amazing how they did it, the people that were there. It was very devotional, absolutely. How many people do you think were there that literally just turned up to get Sunday service? Probably a pretty small percentage of them. Most of the people that turned up had done something.
Yeah, it's really true.
How many people turned up and, like, I know that they weren't from the village, but were behind cameras?
Yeah. What if our
How many people
hands?
would have set up what was there? How many people cooked the meal for breakfast for everyone at that event? How many people printed flyers, put together programs? How many people put together lights? How many people um,
Fake electricity.
paid for the electricity for that? How many people do you think put money in towards ushering people in and getting the car park ready for that to come into play? How many people picked the flowers that went on the altar? How many
Mm.
people decorated the altar? How many people planted the seeds for the flowers to go on the altar?
Mm.
Can you see where I'm going with this? This is the selflessness of that community and why it's flourishing. Not one person turns up to receive. Sure, there might be a small amount of people that are poking
New.
their head in the door
They're new.
that are looking. And out of 1,000, one might stay. But what you witnessed there wasn't the 1,000, it was the one. And the other people that were poking their head in would have been engulfed and felt the same energy that we did.
Mm.
And that was because your input into life and returning back and not being selfish is the ability to be Om and return it. And it's such a beautiful thing about the satanic pull that in life we have that. The other amazing part about that energy that was there were people from India, Europe,
Mm.
all over the United States. There were people there that not only did they serve probably there, but they serve back where they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what it is, it's not the serving, it's the selflessness, it's the self realization that we are all one, that we all want to. I think we spoke last week about the flame, individual flames. If I only looked after my flame, but what's happening there and the why you felt that energy, everybody decided to return their flame and strengthen the unity amongst us all to create the flame that you guys felt.
It's like a bonfire.
That is the opposing force to Satan. And why community is so important is that upliftment, that coming together strengthens the flame in all that we do. So yes, Satan exists. How many times do we go, yeah, you know what? I don't know. I don't think I'll do my meditation this morning because I've got work, I've got this, I've got that. But then throughout the day, probably for an hour, you would have wasted time texting, ringing, gossiping, talking, chatting to someone about stuff that doesn't matter. So it's kind of hypocrisy. It's the satanic pull that pulls you in. That story is justifiable. No different than going back to that original argument. Each person's argument was justifiable. It was absolutely justifiable in the way that they presented each other. You could sit on either side of the fence, depending on your circumstance, and go, yeah, you know what, she's probably right. I wouldn't have married, you know what I mean? Or you could have gone, wow, she was a bit, you know, whatever. But again, it's a satanic pull to get involved in all that, even. We just wasted 20 minutes debating whether the person was right or justifiable or not, which is exactly what they were doing. And ultimately, it didn't matter. They loved each other and they wasted all this amount of time. How often in life we get pulled into that satanic force of other things that don't matter. And it's the joy. I loved watching that clip again. We might even watch it again to feel and watch everybody that was in there and what they were doing and how they were involved and what brought that energy together, because that is why Yogananda talks about community and why community is so important. It's really to build the underlying fire to fight satanic forces to draw us back to self-realization and back to where we need to be.
I was very thrilled to hear your talk, because in meditation, I must have heard the talk, because I was like, we have to talk about that. Just a few things to add. Really, thank you. It was really nice how you brought in the song in the beginning as well. Just a personal story. When I was first on the path, I found Ananda in 2011, so that was like 15 years ago, and it was my home immediately. What does that mean? It's where I felt the most joy and acceptance and recognition that this is where I belonged. But what does that mean spiritually to find your home? Think about that. So here I am, new on the Kriya. I think I had Kriya in 2012. I was going through my karma, going through life, decided to do a pilgrimage to India. But while I was there, chose to be a part of helping the different centers in Gurgaon and Delhi and Pune and all these different little groups learn about marketing. And so one of the biggest things while I was there was to serve and to be a part of each ashram. The expectation was to give. That was what it means to find your home. You don't just sit and consume. To be a part of the home, it's a giving.
That's a hotel.
Yeah, that's right.
Not a home.
And so I was at an event and I thought, oh, finally, I'm just going to enjoy watching a talk. I've never gotten to do that, because living at the village, what do? Give, 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 give. Every event, you're on the duty. You're clean up, you're set up, you're serving anyone that walks in the door as a guest. Because at home, you're not a guest. You're part of the family. And so I thought, well, I'm a guest here in Gurgaon. I'll just go watch this talk. And lo and behold, I was corrected. And who do you think by? None other than, Swamiji had passed by this time, Jyotish. I was in the elevator, ready to go sit in the audience, and the doors opened, and Jyotish and Devi were there with Diana, who's head of India, and she had had me serving everywhere I went. She connected me with each of the groups and made sure that I was doing marketing with them. And she and Jyotish and Devi looked at me, and Jyotish said, hello, Kalamali. Are you going to go help everyone? What a correction was that? Divine Mother, through Jyotish, caught me right away from what? Satan. Why? Was I contracting by thinking about how I could sit back and enjoy? Yes. Did I think that was contracting? Not in the moment. But what does Guru do? He corrects us because he loves us. And he wants us to feel joy, be joy, live in joy. And because he's our father, he's the father of our family. But he has living people who act on his behalf as channels. And that's what Jyotish was doing. And I learned a big lesson that day. Another lesson that Jyotish gave me was, I said to myself, I live in community at home with Jyotish and Devi. I won't go to the satsang with the Delhi group after these talks. I will let them have some alone time. I'm not going to show up. And do you know what Jyotish said to me then? Where were you? We were with family. Where were you? And I learned so much. And that was within 6 weeks of life. But constantly asking to be free, to feel God's love, to be in tune. So I was listening. I've never done those stupid little things again.
Well,
But
we'll
that's,
continue to learn. Yeah. Not those things, but where our life is about learning.
yes, I just mean that I never said, I'll sit back and relax. I never said I won't show up to a satsang. After that, I went to everything that I could with Jyotish and Devi there, everything. Because right away, they corrected me. That was a good thing. Why? Because early on, I got the lesson. And it was a willingness to grow and accept that that was something that needed to be improved. I needed to learn to behave and to be a part of the family. Why? Because going back to the reading, the topic for today, this path is about unity. The meaning of yoga is union. Anything, Maya is the great separator, the great comparer. It's what makes us measure time, space, good, bad, this, that. It's what separates people from a unity consciousness. Family is the closest thing we can have in our daily life. And I mean, not the us four and no more, which is what Yogananda warned everyone against. Any devotees that were part of a family, he said, it's not just your nuclear. This is a greater, larger spiritual family here to serve God's mission through this ray of light. And you have an opportunity to be one with this family. Fellowship was in the name of his organization for a reason. Self-realization through fellowship, unity of family. It's a way that we can do what Swamiji said when asked, how do we find God? He said, deeper, longer meditation on Guru, service to Guru. Why? Gets you out of your ego into unity consciousness, defeat Maya, defeat Satan, and don't give up. And when you get knocked down, get back up and keep going. Remember that affirmation this week. When are we happiest? When we are not in our ego. That is why God, out of love, will remind us. He will be there when we open the doors of an elevator, of a phone call, whatever it is, a reminder. Something will nudge you in the right direction, but you have to be willing to make that choice of unity, generosity, fellowship, community. These are our gifts in this lifetime, and we need to receive them. And then when we receive them, we give them and pay it forward. So with that, maybe we listen to that beautiful chant once more. It's a bit longer, so just take it in and take this time to reflect and re-observe the power of that unity. Thank you, everybody.
What is this life flowing through my veins? Can it be other than divine? What is this life flowing through my veins? Can it be other than divine? In my light, in my love, in my joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Lord. In my light, in my love, in my joy, I am one. my light, in my love, in my joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Lord. In my light, in my love, in my joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Lord. What is this consciousness flowing through my brain? Can it be other than divine? What is this consciousness flowing through my brain? Can it be other than divine? In my light, in my love, in my joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Lord. In my light, in my love, in my joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Lord. What is this power flowing through my will? Can it be other than divine? What is this power flowing through my will? Can it be other than divine? In my light, in my love, in my joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Lord. In my light, in my love, in my joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Lord. In my light, in my love, in my joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Lord. In my light, in my love, in my joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Lord.
Mm. Unpin us.